get trained and certified as a Kingdom Life coach, um, and just do all of the trainings and the studies and all of the things to make sure that I'm as capable in my articulation when I am trying to talk. One thing with me when I talk or when I write like I talk, and I like to talk just with however I feel, meaning from the heart, okay, from the heart. And that is honestly what moves a lot of people. And I just cannot get over the fact because I am a few weeks away. I'm a few weeks away from the death anniversary of my grandmother. Let me look at this date and let me see. Let me see. We are here the 11th. So I'm going to exactly, well, a day short of 3 weeks, 22 days away from my grandmother who raised me, third year of transitioning of life. My grandmother passed on my birthday in 2021. And as I sit here and I am just thinking about the incidents that I haven't even really talked about, the experience that if I was not mature, um, and able and willing to kind of like see the God factor in the mess of the family dynamics, I'm telling you. But one of the things that I am noticing is in my family, and maybe it's just me, but in my family, and I'm going to only talk about the last three incidents with the three loved ones. And I found out over this weekend that I've lost some other family members, but that was more so on my father's side. Okay, so in this thing called life, we're celebrating, we're crying, we're losing loved ones, we're celebrating life, we're people giving birth to life, life is growing. It's so many things, so many ebbs and flows are happening, but it's as I'm sitting here and I'm coming upon the third year anniversary of my grandmother, and this is not a weekend grandmother, this is the woman that raised me and one of the my mother's four children. So my grandma had two of my mama four, and I'm the oldest of the four, and I'm just sitting here thinking about the last situations related to my family's dynamic of when loved ones are passing, or leaving and taking their last breath, right? And I remember because I was born in 1987, and I remember because my grandmother raised me. My grandmother's house was the house where people came over. On the weekends, they was coming over Aunt Mo's house. Okay, they was coming over my grandma's house. My grandma never was selfish when it came to food because she said they grew up with little to no food. Like they used to be eating out trash can. That was they story to tell, baby. But let me tell you, my grandmother never, ever met a stranger. She would give people the shirt off her back. It was people since me losing my grandmother in this last year or so. I've ran into people that we stayed in the same neighborhood together, and some of the women had children, and they said the things your grandmother did for me, she never told nobody, and they appreciated, they respect my grandmother, and it really blessed me because it lets me appreciate even the more of the unseen service and the love that my grandmother gave. As tough as she was, as dysfunctional as I felt like my family was at time, as toxic as we could be, I have given God thanks for allowing me to be raised by a selfless individual, because at the age that I am now was the same age that my grandma took it upon herself to raise two other children, and she had grown children. She didn't have to do it, and that is a little bit of the why behind the work that I do. And as I sit here, and even in my grandmother's passing, my grandmother only had two children. And when I tell you, the enemy surfaces his head in the times where we would think that family would come together. I've never seen the level of evil and wickedness, and even in me saying wickedness and calling out evilness, it makes me think about my granny, which is my grandmother's mother, who up until I was the age of 12, I was at noonday prayer. We had to go right over here. We was at choir rehearsal, no earrings, and you're not wearing no pants. We grew up apostolic. Holiness was the right way, right? That's how we grew up. My grandma's house at the time was considered the backslider house, baby, because the smoking and the drinking and whatever, but we was always pretty much safe. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about how I witnessed family members not speak to one of the two children that my grandma had. These are family members that are blood relatives, family members that were raised by the woman that we know and love called Essie Middleton, and family members that was loved on by the woman that I lost 3 years ago. And I'm watching how family has now turned into literally arch enemies, and I'm sitting and I'm watching this thing, and God is still giving me peace in the midst of my spirit, like just being grieved. I'm being grieved. It's like I'm having an out of body experience and just watching what is happening. And while it's happening in my mind, I'm prepared to never see certain people again. I'm at peace with never seeing these people after this encounter. And then I start seeing people again, right? I start seeing people again. And in me seeing the people, and in the moments that I had to sit with myself and sit with God, and then allow the Spirit of God to give me understanding, and allow the teachings of the Holy Spirit to really let me understand that this is still the Word of God manifesting, right? As much as the enemy wants to wreak havoc, all things still work together for the good of them that love the Lord. But these are conversations that are so sensitive, right? Because it's your own family. And I grew up when family mattered. They had a sitcom show, Family Mattered. Family used to matter. Family used to matter. We used to love each other to the point we would fight and make up, okay? We wouldn't stay so mad at each other for years and months at a time. We wouldn't look for reasons to be at odds with each other. We wouldn't just do things, right? We wouldn't just do things. And then you start growing, and then you start understanding that everybody is not you and everybody is not God. And what we got to do is just begin to let God be God and every man a lie. And I understand that because as I'm experiencing, and I'm still not going into the in depth of what I experienced with the whole family dynamics and all of the things that was taking place, and all of the tears that were shed, and just with the losing of a loved one. And then we lose, and I'm talking about on my mom's side, and then on my mother's father's side. A lot of us, and this is not like an incest situation, but the way my family dynamics is, and the city is so small. Back in the day, it was kids. Well, the parents, our grandparents, they have about 10, 9, 11 kids, right? So the way my family dynamics is, my granny had 9 head of kids. I think she lost one. And then my mom's mom had about 11. or so. So in that dynamics, we had a close knit to where a set of brothers and sisters was, some of the sisters over here had kids by the brothers over there. And in that, I remember growing up, one of the brothers, which was her brother-in-law, which was my mom's dad brother, we lost our Uncle Moose. Lost our Uncle Moose, man. That was the uncle that he look out for everybody. He always show love. He made sure anytime the kids come around, you got them uncles and them aunties that's gonna put the money in the kids' pocket. They gonna give you $5, $10, $20, whatever. They always gonna give you something. You never not gonna go around them and you don't get something. So that was the uncle that we lost last year. And I'm not gonna go all into the details with that, but certain things, happen, and the aunts, the uncles, and the things. And it's like, I had just experienced the situation, and my grandmother only had two children, so the two immediate children are at war. And when I'm sharing this, their situation, it always makes me think about Cain and Abel. And that Cain and Abel spirit is something that will try to come up in sibling rivalries. That's something that will try to come up amongst the sisters and the brothers. It's something that wants to come in and have one kill the other, whether it's naturally or spiritually. So as a mother that has three sons, anytime that I saw anybody trying to put a wedge in my children, I would uproot it. I would cut it at the root. I would call it out. It didn't matter who it was. And I'm sharing this because as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about all of the warfare that's going on, I don't know about nobody else's family. I'm just sharing some of the things that I'm learning and that I've sensed. My oldest child will be 17 next month. I will be 37. My second oldest child will be 13 in November. So if you look at the age difference, this is the timeline where I've had to make sure that I was sensitive enough to speak on and speak out and eliminate, annihilate anything at the root that wants to bring in division amongst the household that I'm assigned to build, that I'm assigned to, that I have been given charge over. Now, all of this is like new to me, and I'm in my 30s. I'm not 40 something, I'm not 50 something, I'm not 60 something, I'm not 70 something, I'm not 80 something. And this is where us really being intentional about who we follow and who we unfollow, because we look to our elders, we look to our aunts and our uncles and our great aunts and our, we look to people and we're expecting them to lead and guide us into a place through love that they haven't even entered into. They haven't even tapped into being filled with the love that we need, because everybody is calling on the Lord, but I'm trying to figure out who is their Lord, because the stuff that I'm seeing, I'm not seeing any love being shown, especially when we're losing our loved ones and we know that tomorrow is not promised. Now, one thing I know about the loss of a loved one, emotions can be high. You don't really know how to feel. You don't know what to do. But one of the things that I took away, and I spoke with my mom's sister, which is my aunt. I told her, I said, one of the things that I've learned and I've took away is that when you lose the matriarchs and the patriarchs of your family, and I can speak from the place of a child, even as an adult, we, the ones that were the children and still are the children, because the age difference is still the age difference. Now, I'm grown and I will pull the grown card when necessary. We are expecting a coming together. We're expecting a round table meeting. We're expecting somebody to rise up and say, okay, y'all, man, this hurt. We don't know what to do. But this what we can do. We're expecting some form of leadership and guidance to come from our elders. And our elders are failing us. Our elders are failing us. Our elders are failing us. Our elders are not in position. Our elders are not wanting to speak up on the behalf of the family. The ones that are left and the other ones that got some sense is dying off. And then the other ones that's willing to speak up and do right is leaving us here. And we're just sitting and we're watching. And I'm sitting here and I'm trying to take my time to kind of just share where I'm at. And I'm like, I cannot believe that we've gotten to the point where, for peace sake, so many people are not saying things that really honestly need to be said and or addressed because people don't know how to effectively communicate. You know, people are dealing with things that they have been holding and being resentful from for years, and they wait at the wrong time. But they take prime opportunity to wait till when we lose loved ones, and we should be coming together. We should be operating in forgiveness. We should be, wanting to be more unified and just let things go or hash things out. But we want to let the enemy have us at odds with each other. Want us to just drink and smoke our problems away and treat each other like we're nothing. When you already know the ones that act the worst, and I'm going to tell you, the ones that act the worst is the ones that be dealing with the guilty conscience. And that's why I really work on treating people how they need to be treated. I try to do right by everybody. No, I'm not perfect, but I try to do right by you, because if you take your last breath, or if I take mine, I pray that however our encounter was, that is well. And if things ain't well, I try to make them back well. But in the family dynamics of how things looking, God ain't pleased with that stuff. God ain't pleased with that stuff, because there's no reason that families should have to find out things about their loved ones only via social media first, because it's so much discord, it's so much disconnect, it's so much nonchalantness, it's so much, nobody cares. And I was just talking about this, it is a time and a place where it's just gonna be like, what, I don't care. I don't care. It is what it is. And it is what it is. But I'm like, it is sad when we how did we get into this place as a family, as a culture, to where we do not care about one another, and even death don't convict us or soften our hearts anymore to draw closer to God and each other. I really just think that we have gotten very, very much so far away from God, and I pray that if this is going on in y'all family too, that God move on all our behalves, because the things what I'm seeing going on in the families, especially when we losing loved ones, I'm telling you, I'm just like, I can't believe it. This stuff will have you so speechless. I mean, you be speechless. You be like, did they just do that? Is this the same person that I used to sit at the table at Granny House with? Did they just do that to me? Did they just say that to me? Is this the same person that probably changed my diapers? Did they just do that? Did they just do that to me? Did they just say that? How did we get to these places? How did we get here? And I'm flabbergasted. Honestly, and I'm talking, the only reason why I'm on here talking, because y'all, to be real, I don't have $125 to pay no therapist. I done sat in them people on the couch. I sat on the couch, and the people don't even really do nothing but listen to you talk anyway. So if I'm going to sit on the couch and it be confidential, I might as well come on here and sit down real quick for a couple minutes, so I ain't got no hours tonight. I ain't got no hours to sit down tonight, but I'm going to go live, because I'm telling you, this is absurd. My aunt gossips about everybody and has become so hateful. I wish we could be closer, but she's dangerous. I'm telling you, Pixie Cut. Pixie Cut telling the truth. Pixie Cut telling me what I know. I done lived it. I done seen in my own blood. My own blood. My own blood did it to me. And if she wouldn't have did it, I would have never believed it. And let me tell you, I had one of the best aunts you could ever ask for. One of the best aunts you could ever ask for. They dangerous, man. They dangerous. But I believe that when we are witnessing and God has given us the discernment and the eyes to see what these family members doing, I think that is an opportunity for us to evaluate and see where our heart's at. See where our heart's at, where our mind at. Do we got the mind of Christ, or are we going to become them? And I'm telling you, I choose not to become these Negroes. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm going to follow peace. And peace may be sometimes speaking out, and then peace may be sometimes shutting your mouth. But this is something that is going on, and it is sad. It is sad that family has gotten to this place, and the aunt that's always gossiping need to stop all that gossiping, be thinking they right. And you're wrong, aunties. You're wrong. It don't matter if you the auntie, the mama, the whoever, all that busybody stirring up mess. You're always in mess. And we like, y'all ain't finished with the mess yet. Y'all like 50, 60 years old. How your auntie is, Pixie Cut. Just put her age, if you don't mind. Or estimate the category, age range. Don't put a name. Because it's like, yo. And when I sit back, I'm like, no wonder misery love company. No wonder misery love company. And people keep you company. If you listen to the gossip, you just as wrong, because the person that's gossiping to you is treating you like a trash can. They're saying you're a trash can. I'm going to dump stuff on you. Sometimes you got to check people at the door like, nah, man, we ain't doing that. You ain't about to sit right there and talk about them like that. No, but family will let people just talk about that's them. No, stop them. Stop them at the door. Stop them at the door. 65 years old, still around here gossiping. You got to stop that mess. That is messy. And then y'all want to make it seem like when the little ones speaking up, we disrespecting you. No, we're not disrespecting you. We're going to pray about it, but we're going to speak on it, because we got to start setting a standard for the family again. Where's the standard? Where's the expectation for the black family? And I don't think it's just a black thing. But I can only speak about what I'm seeing, especially in the family dynamics, baby. And a lot of us has overcome so much. And a lot of us have been missing out on so much. We wait for our elders. Man, let me tell you, when my grandma passed, I'm like, my mama and my auntie, they should have called a family meeting. My grandma, husband being passed, my grandma passed. Next is her children. My mama got 4 kids, 7 grandkids. We immediately should have had an immediate family meeting. Immediate family meeting. To set a direction and an order for where do we want this family to go? What do we need God to do for this family? And what is it that God is telling us to do? And I'm telling you, especially being people of faith, why do we not come together? But oh no, we want to stay all apart because of hatefulness, envy, strife, bitterness. That Cain and Abel spirit. That Cain and Abel spirit is tearing up the families. That Cain and Abel spirit is tearing up the families, and the young people is sick of it. Some people run away from confronting issues like that. I am not a runner. I am a very much so confrontational person. I don't like to sweep things under the rug. I am very studious. I love to be taught things. I love to resolve problems. A lot of us have not been born with a silver spoon in our mouth, and a lot of us are figuring things out. My grandmother, she did the best she could with what she could, and I applaud her and I respect her for that, and her name will never die as long as I'm alive. Her legacy will live on. And if you are wondering why the I Am Tiffany mentorship was created, why I make sure I say I am Tiffany, empower, impact, ignite. Because when I learned that I am Tiffany means the manifestation of God, that means I put God at his word to manifest every promise of my over my life. The things that my grandmother was too afraid to do, afraid to speak out on, as bold as she was, it was so many things that she did not believe in herself that she could do. It's so many things that my mama and her sister don't believe that they can do. It's so many things I never believed that I could do. But God is showing himself strong and giving me the ability to do it, and I'm going to do it. And while he's giving me the ability to do it, I'm going to speak life into other people to let them know they can do it too. It don't matter how dysfunctional and toxic your family is, how raggedy they show up when we lose our loved ones, how many tears you crying. We got to know how to still activate our faith and move into the things of God when life is still happening. Is it easy? No, but it's not as hard as it looks. It's not as hard as people may make it seem. I can't tell you how many times people done put their mouth on me, even down to my own mama. I don't even care. But I tell you one thing, from the lessons that I've learned, I take those lessons, and guess who you think I call a town hall meeting with? I call a town hall meeting with my 3 children, because I need them to know how to overcome circumstances and situations in the event you are losing loved ones, because that's when things are so intense. It's like you're waiting, and let me tell you, some people ain't even waiting no more. Some people have lost complete hope in the family dynamics because of the toxicity people are dealing with behind the scenes. It is so toxic. It is crazy. And a lot of the toxicity is coming from people that you would think would know better, because they say they know the Lord. And they are acting like bastards. They're acting like they the Antichrist. Talking about they know the Lord. Ain't acting and operating in a bit of love. Ain't operating in a bit of love. So I just came on here because I didn't want to leave out here with this on my chest tonight, because I'm like, I'm coming up on the 3rd anniversary of my grandma, and this is the 13-year anniversary, death anniversary of my brother by my dad. I got things that I be going through. I got feelings. I love family. I love family. I love my family. I haven't really been around my family because sometimes your family just gets on your last nerves, and you don't want to be around they toxic behind. You just don't. You need a break from them, and it's okay. I'm gonna be the one to tell you got permission to take a break from them. But in taking a break, and just seeing how life is so short, we all living on borrowed time. We got to get to a point where we learn to appreciate each other's flaws. But we got to get to a point where we still hold each other accountable. It needs to be a standard that is set in the family. Somebody got to step up to the plate. And let me tell you, young people, it ain't always going to be the older ones. Sometimes some of us got more sense than the ones that's older than us. They acting like fools. They acting like fools. They're still doing things that they was doing 30 and 40 years ago. Acting like a fool. And no, we can't follow no fools. We can't afford to follow no old fools in the season. I'm telling you right now. So if you over 30, if you over 25, if you 22, honestly, if you over the age of 16, shoot, you over the age of 10, you see how I'm going down? Because God will get a churn sense that the adults don't want to have. Even if y'all overhearing this message and them children, I know y'all be letting y'all kids hear my messages in the background. If your mom and dad and your auntie and your great auntie and them is acting like a fool, and God giving you sense to have some sense, then you lead the family. Because that's what Joseph was, the leader of the family. Joseph ended up being the leader, being put in place, being used by God. So I'ma definitely encourage the kids to just keep operating in the sense that they need, because if we waiting on all the elders, they not even having no sense right now to help put nothing in order, to help regulate nothing. Like Big Mama and them we didn't call Granny Big Mama. That was just my granny. But Big Mama, like on Soul Food. Big Mama, whatever Big Mama said, Big Mama had your back. But see, Big Mama everybody ain't Big Mama. So Auntie might not say it like Big Mama gonna say it, but if you know Auntie love you, then listen to Auntie. But Auntie, how people gonna know that you love them if you're talking about them in the same sentence? You can't be spitting venom and then want to prophesy over somebody at the same time. No, you need to get cleansed and delivered, and then speak life over the younger ones so we can trust what's coming out of your mouth. And that's why the word of God say, trust no man. Like, we really just got to get to a place where we got a relationship with God, because we waiting on our real family, and real families is like dogging them out. Like, family don't even know what it is no more to be no family. So I'm like, what in the world is going on? What is really going on? I just thought I would share, because I know I ain't got my life coaching certifications for nothing. I know I ain't been in school getting all these trainings to make sure I can articulate these words and communicate with y'all for nothing. And I'm just looking at how my own family situation is. It's sad. And everything is not necessarily directed to me, but it still grieves me when I see people doing certain things, and I'm like, y'all too old for that. That's the sad part. When I'm sitting and I'm looking and I'm listening, I'm like, yo, y'all is too old for that. Like, why are y'all even on that type of stuff? Y'all too old for that. And that's sad. That somebody gotta let you know what you're too old for, when you already should know that you're too old for certain things. I mean, that should be understood, but it's like, people don't get it. People don't get it. And we gotta get to a place where we want to really heal. And that makes me think about the scripture text that said in First Chronicles, I'm going to go to it. If my people, I'm going to go to it. I'm going to read the scripture, and I'm going to get out y'all way. If my people, hold on, I'm over here. Bring it back. Bring it back. And that is 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, pray, and seek my face. Y'all notice that the first part, it says, will humble themselves. So we all have an assignment as individuals to humble ourselves. Humble ourselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. Then I will hear from heaven, I will forgive their sins, and I will heal their land. Y'all, if we want healing, we're going to have to do what 2 Chronicles 7:14 say. And the first part is the part that is, I guess, hard for humans, humbling ourselves. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, pray. Everybody like, I'm going to pray. No. Did you humble yourself? Humble yourself and then pray. And turn from your wicked ways. It is things we got to do. Turn from your wicked ways. Doing all that stuff against each other, talking about each other, not coming together when we losing our family members, waiting on opportunities and people vulnerable moments to, attack them or just do all ungodly things. Let me tell you, turn from your wicked ways. Turn from your wicked ways, and then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins. We need to be forgiven for our own sins, our own wrongdoings, our own ways, our evil ways, right? So that way God can heal the land. I know this is not, and when he say heal the land is my family, my heart. Heal, Lord. Heal the lands of my family members. Heal. Allow yourself to be humbled. When you humble, you don't mind forgiving others because you know that God has forgiven you. You'll be able to give others what you've received. If you receive something from God, then why is it hard for you to give it to others? Forgiveness is readily available to us. But yet we're sitting here and we're harboring malice and we're using it at times where we should be coming together. We should be coming together. And let me tell you, with the incident, it was some incidents, it was so many incidents that happened when I lost my grandma. But one of them, the testament of it, an apology came about a year later. But the apology came and I knew it wasn't nothing but God touched the heart. Cause I'm like, yo, I didn't even never think I was gonna speak to this Negro again with the audacity. But God had done gave me peace. I left it alone. I gave it to God. And do you not know? At the appointed time, God had an apology set up waiting for me to receive after I endured the persecution, the hit and the agony in the midst of going through losing my grandma. My grandma that raised me every day, not my grandma on the weekend. Because people will take a moment, and in those moments, if we don't got on our whole armor, in that moment, anybody could have got it. Do you not know when people are hurting or they don't know how to respond when they done lost a loved one, when life going on? Anybody can get it. But I chose to hold my peace and I let God fight my battle, and victory was mine because God touched the matter. And at the appointed time, it was not that month, it wasn't even that year, God set that thing up. And I sat and I received it. I even humbled myself in how I received the apology because I knew it wasn't nothing but God did it. Because only God can show us ourselves and show us the errors of our ways. And I'm telling you, when God do a thing, it is wonderful, it's marvelous. And that's the God that I believe that is able to do exceedingly above all that I can ask or think. And I'm asking y'all to that know a word of prayer. Keep me and my family lifted in prayer because I'm sick of the enemy always wanting to divide and conquer my family. And I believe that he works overtime because of the assignment and the anointing that's on the bloodline. So keep my family in prayer. Keep my family in prayer. Pray for my family as I pray for your family because we need each other. You know, we need these relationships matter. God knew that we needed uncles. God knew that we needed aunts. God knew that we needed sisters. God knew that we needed brothers. God knew we needed cousins. Man, your cousins is like your first best friends. Your cousins is like your brother and your sister. Technically, we just happen to be cousins. God knows what we need. God loves family. God loves relationship. But the enemy works overtime to divide and conquer us. And I'm sick of it. So I'm speaking on it tonight. And I pray that what I'm saying is just encouraging you to pray for your family and the things that your family may be going through. Even if you're dealing with the loss of loved ones, death anniversaries, and things like that, I pray your strength in the Lord. This is me just learning how to just be as human as possible and realize that every year for the rest of my life, my birthday is the day that my grandmother passed with her smart self. Because Casey, my baby boy, was actually due on my grandma's birthday. So my due date was October the 15th. And my smart self, I was not having him on her birthday. I wasn't. Because, just sometimes a thing is going to happen sooner or later and you're like, nah. So I'm just letting y'all in on what I did. And I was like, nah, we're not going to do that. Casey's birthday is not going to be on your birthday, Grandma. Absolutely. Absolutely not. So Casey's birthday is actually on one of my cousin's birthday, and we haven't spoken in minutes. And but it, it is what it is. Ain't no, I don't bring the children in there, and there's no bad blood on my end. And and then she want to pass on my birthday. Girl, nobody told you to transition nobody on my birthday. Like, ain't nobody gonna forget you. Okay, so that's kind of my way of letting her know, like, okay, you want to make sure you're not forgotten about. And I know one of the things that my grandmother always wondered, was if she was enough. And honestly, she was more than enough. She was more than enough. That woman, sometimes you really just don't know how precious a person is until they ain't here no more. And I'm glad that I do, and I see her value. I saw her value. I know her value. But your lenses are just completely different when a jewel, like priceless, a gem. You know what I'm saying? Like, my grandma was so selfless till she gave until she didn't have nothing else to give. And that is one of the reasons why I am busting my behind to make sure that I balance out what I do and how I give. Because if you don't have balance, people will take, your children will take, your family will take, your husbands will take, everyone will take, everyone will take, and no one will pour back into you. And you have to be responsible for getting poured into. You got to be responsible for protecting what's inside of you. You have to be responsible. So I'm making sure that I protect what's inside of me, and I teach my children how to do it. Because if you are so naive, when you are naive to certain things, people will take. People will take till you don't have nothing else. And I know that I'm here to be used. I want to be used by God. I love being used by God. I love when my gifts are being able to be used, but you got to know when to refrain. You got to know what's for people to use and what they can't have. You got to learn it, or you'll question your worth. That was something that I didn't like in my grandma. She didn't know how valuable she was. My grandma didn't know how valuable she was. And I'm like, I can't live like that. I'm very humble. I'm very humble. But my value will not be questioned by myself or nobody else. You're going to know my worth before I get there. And when I get there, I'm going to get treated like my worth. And that's that. I'm not going, no, we're not doing that. So we got a lot going on over here in our family. I mean, just keep families lifted up in prayer, y'all. It's just so sad. It's very heartbreaking, some of the things that some people are literally suffering in silence about, when it comes to just the things that's just going on. And I don't know about nobody else, but I just be like, can't we all just get along? Like, can't we all just get along? My grandma was the place, that was the shoulder that I could cry on. That was a safe place. That was a place that I never been judged. I was always able to be, whatever Tiffany gonna do, I know she gonna figure it out. Give me my hug and let me keep on doing what I do. And I don't have that place, in a sense, in the form of my grandmother. But I do thank God for my children. Because God has blessed me with some children that have a level of understanding and patience that is out of this world. They are genuinely just good, loving, wholehearted children, and they're in a place where they're able to speak up, speak their mind. They don't have to feel muzzled or anything like that. And having a mom with such a strong personality trait as me is not always easy, but we get each other. Like, my family dynamics. My family, meaning when I'm saying mine, I'm talking about me and my children, like just the dynamics of what God has given me. What's going on, Chris? I am so grateful for each and every one of my sons. Like I said, my oldest son will be 17 this year. I'll be 37 on the second. The I Am Tiffany relaunch is loading. So I've had 20 years of experience almost as a mother. Um, Even when I was preparing, when I shared the news that I was expecting, my girl was like, what you scared of? You're grown. And I'm like, but I'm not married, and I just still felt like a kid because I'm like, I'm still a kid, even though I'm as grown as I think I am. And I'm like, wow, for the last 17 years, you know, I've been somebody's mom. And these last 2 years, I have been able to really take the lessons that I've learned and kind of really accelerate and really encapsulate some of the teachings that I want my children to know as they're going into their adulthood and becoming men and stuff like that. Just knowing how to be in tune with their own emotions and knowing how to still speak up and speak out on things, knowing what to do when you're in situations where you're seeing injustice happening to others, seeing things happening maybe by family members or whatever, just kind of knowing how to handle themselves in those type of manners, and knowing that I'm here, to listen, to speak on, or even bring correction or things that I need to do. So that's amazing. And that's some of the things, some of the reasons why I do come on here to share, because maybe you're trying to figure things out. Like, none of us have life all figured out. There's no perfect parents. There's no perfect kids. There's no perfect aunt. No perfect cousin. It's only a perfect God. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that it's important that we have a space to really express ourselves and what we're going through. So that way, so many people won't have to be battling and dealing with this thing that a lot of people say they battling and dealing with, depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. But just really have the moments to be the humans that we are, so we can really be as relatable as we need to be, and really take the necessary tools or just get encouraged to continue about our lives. And that's really why I show up so people can have hope to just keep going, not give up, don't lose hope. Even with tears in your eyes, don't lose hope when the odds stacked against you. Don't lose hope when you're losing loved ones, because God is still good. God is still God. So I am Tiffany. I'm going to get out of here. I said I was not going to stay on here an hour. Empower, Impact, Ignite. Make sure y'all go to the iamtiffany.co website if you want to look around. This website is actually being revamped, so I took certain things down, but it's some things you can type in on the search bar. You can fill out a contact form that's complimentary, or y'all can begin booking y'all coaching sessions, whatever you want to do to support. If you want to just ask more or get to know more about what's going on, plan to be at the I Am Tiffany relaunch. Like, follow that and join the I Am Tiffany Empowerment family. Everything I do is going to have like a family dynamics to it, because I am big on family, and I know a lot of us are not as close with our families as we wish we could be, or would like to be, or desire to be. So every community that I create is going to be like a family type community, and it doesn't matter if you're in that community for the benefits of yourself or your children. Okay, so that's it. That's all. I love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. And this was just our conversation for tonight. If it's some more specific conversations that y'all would like to touch on, either comment in the comment section what topics y'all want to kind of talk about. Tonight I'm talking about the loss of these loved ones, honey, and how these families be showing out and not coming together like we should, but doing the most, playing sides, doing the most, and it is not good. I don't like it. It happened to me personally. I see it happen to others. I hear it. It's going on, and we need to stop doing that. But it's so many other things that's happening as well, and we need to address them. And we need to know how to really begin to move forward and reestablish and reset some boundaries in our family and some standards in our family dynamics. So thank y'all for listening. Y'all be blessed.